your girl Samaya. I make faith-based content. So today I wanted to talk about how, like, in the Bible, it's several stories. God shows us several about how he uses certain people and the least likely person to literally give the word of the Lord, to be his prophet, to lead a multitude of people, right? It's the least likely person that you expect, right? I also noticed that he'll use those same people to bring you to your demise. These are people who are prideful. These are people who think that they're better than other people simply because they may have more credentials, like, on earth. So you may have your degree, and the person who is giving you the word of the Lord, to them, they're beneath you. But it's like, oh, I'm doing better than her in life. Or it'll be like, even I've seen people who are homeless. But you know, a lot of them people be anointed, y'all. A lot of them people is not as crazy as you think they are. And a lot of times we're entertaining angels and you don't even know it. That's why I don't play about that. You calling homeless people who are homeless bums. I literally cut off a friend for that. I don't care. We have been friends for years. Almost 7 years, y'all. And I cut that girl off because I'm just like, no way are you going to sit there and play. Like, she'll play in a waitress's face and everything. Like, just be rude. And I don't like that. Anybody who you feel is less than you, and if you treat them bad and I'm watching, I'm going to cut you off quick, fast, and in a hurry. And a lot of times I notice that people who do that, I notice it's because they have a lack of self-confidence. They're insecure in some way. So anytime somebody tries to treat you less than, I don't care if it's your sister, your brother, your cousin, your mother, your father, your coworker, your in-laws, it's because they see something in you and they was like, okay, I got to make myself seem like bigger than who I am, or make this person seem lower than who they truly are. A lot of times it's because they are insecure. Just straight up, I just wanted to say that. So anywho, like, God uses the person who you least likely expect to really go out and do God's work, because it's just like, dang, that person was just maybe a whole, like, 2 years ago or last year or even yesterday, but this person decided to give their life to Christ and now work for the kingdom of heaven. Or this person may have a speech impediment. Like, growing up, I had to take speech classes, guys. I literally had to take speech classes, not realizing that I would grow up and literally work for the kingdom of heaven and speak on multiple platforms. He uses those people so that way, since you think that they're lower than you or they're beneath you, and it makes you feel like you have free will to just do whatever you want to that person or say whatever you want to that person. But God honestly is using that person to bring you to your own demise. Literally. It's so many books in the Bible that even shows that. Like, for instance, Pharaoh did not let Moses and his people go, I think, into like the 10th plague or pestilence in the Bible. You got to go read it. I believe it is the book of Exodus, right? And in the Bible, Pharaoh just thought that Moses was just like somebody he could just play with and just overlook. But Moses was used by God the whole time to be God's mouthpiece, which is God's prophet, right? And Pharaoh like, well, I'm the king. Like, who is you? Like, you're not gonna lead a group of people out of here. Like, you talking about, son, let your people go. I ain't doing none of that. I ain't having none of that. However, Pharaoh did not realize every time he played in one of God's children's faces, he played in God's chosen one's face. He played in the prophet of God's face. Even if you don't think that person is a prophet, you don't know what God is doing behind the scenes. Like, even if you don't think that person is chosen, you don't know what God is doing. That's why you got to be so careful to stop doing it. This is literally a warning, guys. This is a warning. I don't think y'all understand. This is a warning video. You have to stop doing that. Because you have to realize that your life is going to go downhill every time, because it might be something that you're dealing with. You might be dealing with a spirit of pride, a spirit of arrogance. I lost storage, so my second part, it didn't save, but that's okay. That was pretty much it, because I pretty much reiterated the same thing. I just want you guys to understand and gain understanding that the person who you least likely expect can be used by God. And whenever you go against God's chosen, God's anointed, God's prophet, even though everybody's not a prophet, but if you go against those people in those categories, God will literally bring you low. Matter of fact, that's what God's plan is a lot of the times. You don't even realize it because you're so in the world. You don't even understand everything is spiritual. You don't even understand everything is spiritual. Those people who I gave the word of the Lord to, they all dealt with a spirit of pride. So whenever God used me to give them the word of the Lord, and everybody, they rejected, 2 out of 3 rejected it. God just used me to help get you to where you need to be. You're not going to always be low, right? Or you're not going to always be brought to your demise, but you have to realize that God places certain people in your life for you to act a fool on, so that way he can bring you low. You just want to make sure that it's so important that you are understanding that you have to treat people good, regardless of if you think that they are beneath you or not, regardless if you think that, oh, they're just a janitor, they're just a waiter, no, but they're not just the janitor or the waiter. They're actually sent by God. A lot of times you don't even understand who is who in the spirit. That's why it's so important to ask God to open up your eyes, so that way you can see with your spiritual eyes and no longer with your worldly eyes. And ask God to strengthen your discernment. But that's it for today's video. My phone about to die, y'all. I'm Samaya Evans. I make faith-based content. Follow me here on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and Facebook.